This is a moment that Philip and I have been looking forward to for a very long time, because we are at the Blue Room inside the SPODE Museum Trust with the manager, Michael Escombe. He is an absolute expert on SPODE.
In this room we've got SPODE's Italian pattern, so about 300 pieces of blue Italian. It's never been out of production since 1816, so 209 years of production and still counting. Still in production at Port Merion, just around the corner, who now manufacture SPODE.
Unfortunately, in 2008, the SPODE factory, after over 200 years of production here in Stoke-on-Trent, closed down.
Now, for any Italian collectors out there, the 1920s catalogue made by SPODE listed around 300 size and shape variations for just Italian, and that was just in 1920. Of course, the pattern had been in production for over a century before that, and has been in production for a century since. So, there is an awful lot of varieties of shapes and patterns of the Italian. What this display shows really is just how many different shapes the Italian pattern has been printed on in its 200 odd year history. We've got great examples of early 19th century objects, things like the syllabub cup, what we would call a tulip cup.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, designed for sort of eating small puddings like syllabubs or custards. And we've got the pickle dishes, which again were very much a feature of early 19th century cuisine. We've got some amazing shapes. It's a Stilton pan. So the top section is actually the lid, so it's got a very large and deep lid. So it would display a sort of pronounced block of Stilton wheels.
The whole world went mad behind me when you said Stilton pan.
What's for? Then why don't you have these things?
I've no idea. We have not done well enough with our collecting. Come on, you two, pull it together.
Can you imagine your rock floor in that, those big rocks?
I can. I'm imagining it right now. Imagine
And then this
eating
for
it
the
too.
other. What's this, a cheese gong?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The trick is, if it's got vents in the top, it's designed for cheese.
Yeah.
And if it hasn't got vents in the top, then it's for butter.
Okay, so this one's butter. Oh no, there is a vent. There's vents. Oh
Cheddar.
yes.
So like a cheddar kind of thing, something you would cut in a wedge.
Yes,
There are
that's
the
right.
vents.
I'll pick up that shaving mug as we're stood right next to it. That's incredibly rare, especially to see it complete and in good collection, because things that were designed to be utilitarian, they just get bashed about and broken.
I've got this one and I've got the soap dish and I use them to shave. Yeah.
It's lovely to still use these things.
So it's still as popular as it ever
I
was.
do have a question about it though. Is he pushing her into the water? I can never quite work out what exactly he's doing.
There is a fair degree of speculation. Most blue and white transfer wear, we can trace the original source pattern, the origins of where that pattern came from. SPODE's Italian pattern is somewhat unique, really, in that the origins of the design are shrouded in mystery. Old prints exist of Moses in the bulrushes, which looks very similar to that. So the chap isn't pushing the woman into the water.
He's actually placing or
He's
taking.
placing Moses in a basket.
Well, do you know, that I would never have guessed, but not in a million years. You have blown my mind with the thought that it could be Moses being placed into the bulrushes. Or rescued from the bulrushes, I suppose.
Yeah,
actually, it
absolutely.
could be the couple suddenly seeing a child in the river and rushing forward. It explains his pose more, doesn't it?
It does,
Like
because
running up.
even within SPODE's version of the Italian pattern, there are many different interpretations by engravers. And, for example, if we look at that vase there, the image of the woman is very different from, say, that one. But of course, SPODE weren't the only manufacturer to make the Italian pattern. We know of about 14 or 15 other manufacturers who were making it circa 1816. One example is Swansea. This is their version of the Italian pattern. So it's turned slightly around because we're showing off the shape rather than the pattern, but it is
My goodness,
very
yes.
distinctly the Italian pattern. Fantastic shaped item, that. It's a puzzle jug. The idea being that you've got to try and work out how to pour the water without it slopping all over you.
Don't you have to cover two of the holes on the sides to be able to?
Now that would be telling.
Oh, yes.
I'd never heard of puzzle jugs.
Because otherwise, because of all the lace work, it would just fall out.
Well, of course.
Absolutely.
I think there's a hole here in the bottom, so when you pour it, it goes up through the handle.
Through the handle,
Is that
along,
correct?
around the side here.
That's it.
My
Pretty
goodness.
much, yes. That's pretty much absolutely spot on. Yeah.
Amazing.
I feel like this would be the most passive-aggressive gift in the 1920s. Who burnt the tablecloth? Someone just saw the tablecloth burnt, and the next time they come, little present.
Now we're going through to
I like this pose.
Sanctum Sanctorum.
This is it.
It is, and I feel always obliged to do it with a little bit of theatre whenever we go into this room.
Oh, I thought the previous room was the blue room. Oh my goodness.
Now, this one's more like your house.
Oh wow.
Look at that, the Indian sporting.
Indeed, this table is all Indian sporting pattern.
I feel like we need that one. I don't think it's for
so
sale, but I think it's
gorgeous.
Very much not for sale. Fantastic thing, isn't it?
And the Indian sporting was designed based on these engravings.
It was. They were all copied from one series of prints that were published in around 1790.
It's funny because when I look at the prints, I'm not drawn to them. I don't particularly want to see animals getting killed. And yet, the minute it's in blue and white, it all looks very charming and you don't really notice that part of it
That's
at
right.
all.
Yes, indeed. This is an original copper plate for a type of pattern. So you can see how the pattern has been put down in two parts. So we've got the central motif and then we've got the border with a spacing there. So, it's designed to be laid on a slightly curved edge. And so to avoid creases in the transfer, we've got to have that little split in the paper. So when it's laid down onto the surface, the transferer can match them up. You can see where it's got some damage now on this side. Yeah, it would have been sort of 1820s, 1830s probably.
And are you a collector as well? Because I just heard eBay sound.
It's like two addicts recognising each other.
Transferware starts life as an engraved copper plate. The colour is warmed up on a hot plate, such as this. The colour is then applied to the copper plate, making sure that all of the indentations in the copper plate have got colour in. The copper plate is then put with some tissue paper and passed through a printing press, a flat press printer in this case. So this is an example of the type of flat press printer that would have been used on the factory from around 1790 through to the 1840s for sure, and much later than that actually.
So that's what they would look like before going onto the plate and being fired?
Yes.
And that would then come out blue?
It would just fire blue. Yeah, it's a kind of magical process.
Yes.
This is obviously the wrong size
Yes.
for this, but the print is then put on and rubbed on.
And so the moment it touches it, that's it. You can't move it.
The ink is really tar-like.
Yes.
It's a sort of oily, tarry substance that gets on everything and stains everything. And the moment it touches, it's there. There's no undo button, there's no erase button. So if you've done everything correct, you should end up with, a piece of biscuitware with the transferred pattern on. This is just a demonstration piece. This piece would then be fired again in what's known as a hardening on fire. That basically dries out the ink so that the next stage, which is dipping it in glaze and then firing it for a third time, obviously if the ink was still wet, it gets mixed with the glaze, it would smudge.
So even for a single colour pattern, it's 3 firings?
3 firings for even a very simple sort of blue and white
Goodness.
transfer piece.
I mean, when you see this, you realise the sheer amount of work that went into making transferware pieces.
To engrave a copper plate is a significant undertaking for a factory. We're talking about 8 to 9 months' work for an engraver for a pattern of this complexity. For a dinner plate, you're going to sell. It's going to be the mainstay of your service. So you would get your engravers to engrave a copper plate specific to that size of plate, which means it's very difficult to see where any joins are. Clearly, you're not going to sell many of these meat plates of this size, so we use a copper plate from a smaller size meat plate rather than commit an engraver to 9 months' work to engrave one for a piece that you're not going to sell very much.
It's clever.
But where the copper plate from a different sized item has been reappropriated, it's very easy to see the joins.
Yes.
You can spot them there. And, you know, these are not flaws. These are just a natural part of the process, really. I mean, I love seeing them because it's human intervention, isn't it? You can see that. You know, if you look carefully, you can see the outline of the original meat plate, and then the pattern has been copied and pasted. You know, so you've got the chap with his cows there, and half.
And I love that we just sort of cut out around here and popped on there. It's a bit like our wallpaper colour.
You've got swans, and then you've got swans.
Yeah, little sideways swans coming in from the side.
It's very difficult to see that that's actually happened with the pattern until it's pointed out. And of course, you know, you would never see this when it's empty anyway. You know, it would have your whatever roast swan or whatever sat on there. You know, most parts.
Poor swans, leave them alone. They're so happy swimming sideways.
She has a house full of peacocks.
Not even in jest.
Who'd like to sit on everyone's car?
Oh, yes.
And they'd be better sat on that plate.
And is that one even patterned underneath?
It is, yes.
My
And the pattern
goodness.
underneath is interesting for different reasons, because you've got, this is the actual size.
Yes, so there they do the double border.
Double border again, but you know, you can see how they've been pretty slapdash in the transfer. You know, you can see the scissor marks where they've chopped the transfer out, because they were pretty confident that no one of consequence would see
Right.
The underside.
Only the staff who were cleaning it. You know, who cares about them? One thing that I'll never lose my love of is when, you know, and you can do this with any old piece, you know, when you put your thumbs on a handle, you can feel the indentations of where a caster put that handle into place 220 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
If you're very careful, I shall let you do that.
I feel very
with any
privileged.
one of these handles, where you can usually feel
It's
where
just drops
that
into
handle's
place.
been pressed into place.
Oh, how wonderful.
That's amazing.
And in that moment, you know, you are connected, aren't you, with that anonymous factory worker of 200 and odd years ago. And, you know, you don't get that with any modern pieces of pottery, you know. There are some factories where no human will ever touch it until it gets to its packing stage.
Right.
Really, which is such a shame, you know. It's really nice to have that human connection.
And what is this shape for? I've never seen this shape before.
Hot water plate, yeah. So it has a reservoir. I mean, essentially, it's a dinner plate put onto a bowl, you know, and then just cast in one piece. But the bowl acts as a reservoir, so there's two spouts either side, and the hot water goes in and then would normally be plugged with a cork plug or a ceramic plug. And the idea being then that, you know, during long regimental speeches or whatever, or pre-dinner speeches, you know, your dinner can be kept warm.
Oh, you'd eat off it?
You'd eat off it, yeah. Yes.
Oh, so it wouldn't be something for the centre of the table, so each person
Didn't
would get
realise that.
I've got one in the
How can I
Rome
put that in a
pattern.
dishwasher?
Tiger pattern.
I think the Tiber pattern is my favourite pattern.
Got some examples of it over here.
Look at that. I just find it sumptuous.
It's more of the type of pattern.
Oh, that's particularly pretty, isn't it? Look at that shape.
Round one.
Very unusual, that size of that shape of meat plate.
And here they've put a pattern
Absolutely,
on
there's
below
no
the other.
copper,
Yeah.
no copper plate design.
It's castle.
Castle.
That's my
Beautiful.
favourite.
Is that Lucano?
Yeah.
What is this one? Sorry, I've never seen this one before.
One of the Byron's Views series. So it was part of a series of sort of, you call it, continental countryside views, sort of romanticised European landscape views.
Can you show us some of your favourite pieces?
My favourite pieces, yeah. What I really like most of all is unusual pieces, and pieces that have been designed for kind of uses that are no longer with us. So I suppose I really love this jug printed in botanical pattern. There's a lot of things I like about this jug. I love the botanical pattern because it's a great floral pattern, but it's unusual in that it's reversed. You know, we're essentially seeing a negative, so we're seeing white on a blue background rather than blue on a white background. I really love the shape. You know, it's sort of based on much earlier German mask jugs with this sometimes called Green Man. You know, he comes under various names, popular in all sorts of different countries' mythologies. And if I take it out, be careful with it because it is incredibly fragile and rare. Take the lid off. Then on the inside we can see that it's got a little sieve mechanism there, but the holes are quite big. So too big for tea leaves or coffee grounds, they would all go through. So the big question is, what was this jug used for? Any guesses?
For mint or something, a flavoured water or something?
An infusion?
Yeah.
Good. Well, you're definitely on the right lines. Well done. Yeah. Nothing as delicious as mint tea, but you're definitely
Lemon water or something?
Oh, you're getting very close. You're getting very close. It is a type of flavoured water which was very popular in the early 19th century. Sort of by mid to late 19th century, it had fallen out of favour. Mrs. Beeton writes in one of her books, she calls it, I'm paraphrasing, an obnoxious concoction. something like that. She was not very complimentary about it. It's for toast water.
Toast water?
Toast water, which was chunks of well-toasted bread seeped in hot water, and it was thought to be good for invalids.
Well, I insist on trying it next time I have the flu.
Well, I've tried it, so you don't have to.
Do you agree with Mrs. Beaton?
I mean, it just tastes of toast-flavoured water,
Okay.
which is not necessarily horrid,
No.
but not particularly delicious.
It is wonderful. I'm just like you. Things that are made for uses that we don't really use anymore, but also things that are made for things that we do still do, but don't have a special implement for anymore. And I think that should be revived.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. In sort of pre-refrigeration days, particularly in the early 19th century, when you would get a glut of one fruit or vegetable at one type of year, and obviously you had to think about different ways of preserving it. And pickles were incredibly popular in the early 19th century. Elaborate evening meals would often be, anything up to 15 courses, small courses, and they would often use pickles as sort of in-betweeners, palate cleansers and the like. And there are recipes, early 19th century recipes, for virtually every single type of pickled fruit or vegetable. I've tried pickled melon, which is a Georgian recipe.
How was the melon?
Awful.
Okay, we won't bring back the
But
melon.
I suspect that might have been, I was clearly... Yeah, I mean, the 200 years of recipe has been lost in translation.
What are these for? These are my very favourite. These
Berries, I think.
Exactly right. Soft fruits, yeah, they're often called chestnut baskets or fruit baskets. But, yeah.
little bits of
Why not?
Yeah.
or crackers with cheese.
Do you know what? There's an old adage in the ceramics industry: you buy it, you can put what you want in it.
Is that right?
This is one of my favourite plants. Is it Old Eliza they call it, this one?
Oh, I don't know that one.
I don't know
It's
it.
got several names, but you're dead right.
It has got swastika on it, but it's the reversed.
It does have a reverse swastika on it, which is
Yes, but that's the Hindu. I think it was Hindu
it
symbol.
is, yeah. But it was one of the reasons this pattern was never reproduced by the factory. In the 80s and 90s, they looked through their archive and reproduced several of the sort of antique blue and white transferware patterns, but Long Eliza was never reproduced.
Oh, Long Eliza, that's
particularly. It's got various names because it's a mistranslation of a Dutch name, which is itself a translation of a Chinese name. Lang Leeson, I can't pronounce. I don't have a Dutch accent. I'm afraid.
Tall, that would mean tall, wouldn't it?
It's tall.
Tall.
Yeah. Because I think in the original Chinese design of this pattern, they're two men. As it's travelled across the world and across time, it's people have misinterpreted it as being a very tall lady.
Yes.
I do have one dinner plate in this, but that's the only thing.
It's beautiful.
Perhaps some of the Long Eliza pattern.
Oh, yes.
There we go. So two smaller tea plate patterns there, and you can see this is a particularly good example of how they've maximised the use of the copper plates.
Yes, they've got them overlapping.
Got them overlapping, so they could do two impressions off one copper plate. Efficiency in action, and then on the reverse again, we've got Greek key border pattern. They look to be oval plate borders, I think, and there's at least two borders with different plates. It's a terrific pattern, I think. Yeah, it's really well made.
as well in the same pattern.
Oh, no, that's what you do need that stuff.
Thank you. I was thinking I needed a little leg bath this
need a leg
evening.
bath.
I could sit there in the evening reading a good book.
It's very fashionable to do your lower legs with Epsom salts now.
You are a mine of information,
I don't know
Andrew.
about porcelain, but I know about salts. That is lovely. I think
it
you
is.
do need this for the boot room when you come in and you feel a little bit cold.
I love this. This is so unusual.
Isn't it?
Greek pattern, one of the most complex patterns actually that the factory produced. The full range encompasses something like 46, 48, I forget exactly which, different scenes, different legends sort of represented, and each one has these external images specific to that central image. So it's incredibly sort of time-consuming pattern for the factory to produce. Incredibly difficult for the transferer to put on as well, because unlike most other patterns, the transfer was done in one go. So the copper plate was, the pattern was designed to be put on in one foul swoop rather than the motif being separate from the border. So an incredibly complex, difficult and expensive pattern to...
That must have been so fashionable in the early 19th century, my goodness.
Absolutely, yeah. There were a number of significant excavations which produced mosaics and imagery, and so it had a real moment where it was incredibly popular.
And could I ask about this?
Yes,
this
I was
shape?
about to
Is
ask
it
the
just
same
for ease for the housekeeper to bring it in?
Pretty much, yeah. They call those supper sections, but they had various configurations that could be used for hot or cold foods. We've got a couple more, actually, which may be in different patterns, which may be easier to see. So this one here in net pattern, you get various different configurations across the board. So some have vents, which suggest that they were for hot food. These ones do not have vents. And you have different configurations of central dish as well. So this one has been designed for egg cups and salt and pepper.
And you could keep the eggs warm with warm water in there, I suppose.
Exactly right. So virtually all of them in different configurations have a water reservoir for that reason.
Yes.
So you can keep things
breakfast
warm.
then?
This would be for breakfast, yeah.
Oh, how delightful. And then around the outside you would have everything. Well, I suppose your sausages, bacon.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Cold meats and things like that.
How wonderful. Even inside, everything is decorated.
Everything is decorated.
That
even
is
inside,
wonderful.
You need one so that when I come to yours, it can be served in front of me.
You definitely need one.
Complete sets are quite rare, particularly if they have their original wooden trays. They're
I do have some of the trays with these, the base, but without the lids.
Yes.
I've probably got enough to do a full circle, but the lids are missing. So.
No, that's really special.
it is.
I don't know this pattern.
Yeah.
I love that one. Yes, no, this one I know, but I don't know the pattern. What I mean is I haven't seen the rest of the set before.
Yes, when they were choosing archival patterns to reintroduce as part of the Blue Room collection, they just picked one Greek, one Caramanian, but the full Caramanian service, when you see it like this, encompasses many different patterns.
Just glorious.
And they're all taken from travel books of the period.
Well, I've been using the modern version of this one a lot. It's one of my favourites. And one day I turned it over and realised it's tombs. And I've been eating on tombs all this time. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I think, one of the things that Caramanian and Indian sporting have in common, which is made their popularity sort of endure, is the really beautiful, naive depictions of the animals. We know it's an elephant, but it doesn't really look like an elephant.
This little trunk. Oh, they're wonderful.
Very much of their time, aren't they? They're really fun.
I could look at these for hours.
Do you have any of the Aesop's fables?
They're all over here.
Oh, yes.
They got a little bit better at drawing animals by the time
These came out.
was released, yeah. Or perhaps the animals were a little bit less exotic.
Oh, look at the poor little donkey. I like the tortoise and the hare. I think I would very much like a tureen like that.
It's beautiful.
These are all what's known as sheet patterns, and sheet patterns started life as being used as infills. So, we see things on handles that are sort of generic patterns that are replicated, and sort of places on pots that just needed not the main pattern, but they needed a complementary pattern like handles and.
So they would be cut
rims.
from a sheet of pattern and then just placed wherever they were needed.
Absolutely, yeah. There we go. You know, you can cover anything from small little toy plates to huge big meat plates just by wallpapering them. They could literally wallpaper an entire piece with just that one copper plate. So smaller factories particularly could get a service to market much quicker and with much less investment than previously, because they only needed to engrave or have engraved smaller numbers of small copper plates. Incredibly efficient, cost-effective way of designing a pattern.
And they created pieces that are almost more contemporary to our eyes than some of the more patterned ones.
Absolutely. I mean, the sunflower pattern here was introduced in the 1820s at this factory, but has a remarkably contemporary look to it now. It's still in production now at Port Merion because it's got such a modern feel. People to come and visit the Blue Room, you know, because having whether it's from me or one of our other volunteers, you know, having a personalised tour of the Blue Room, right, really does bring the pieces alive.
But I do feel there's a huge resurgence of interest in this at the moment. People are turning to pattern and to maximalism far more than they were. People want patterns on their plates. They want different shapes for serving different things.
I don't think this is exclusive to maximalism, because even something like this, on just a plain dresser with a plain colour background. It doesn't have to be. It's very versatile.
Absolutely. We've had enough of plain white plates now.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
We can't thank you enough. It's just, you're a mine of information, and seeing some of these original pieces has been very moving, very inspirational.
Do you do these tours a lot? Like, can people book a tour like this? Or?
We have to book them because it just takes a bit of organising. So, but we're always happy to show visitors around our Blue Room collection.
So if any of you are interested in booking a private tour around the Blue Room, do email ceramics@spodemuseumtrust.org. But also, if you do that, you could ask to purchase a copy of Michael's book, A Guide to the Spode Museum Blue Room, and it's a mine of information. And you've spent a long time working on this, eating, breathing, living the Blue Room. For anyone who collects blue and white transferware, this is a staple. I mean, we're definitely going to be going home with this today.
And our tea room and our shop, which specialises in vintage and antique.
Oh yeah, we are going there next. And having seen all of that beauty, we've now come down to the gift shop. And the proceeds of this gift shop help to keep the museum alive. There are quite a few gaps in the display where Michael's found his treasures. And Philip is currently wandering around looking for a little souvenir. What did you get in the shop?
It's all packed away, but I got like the little pot that you would keep the hair in, or whatever that was.
Yes, a little hair pot.
And then also I got like a plate with a ring holder. You know, they put the ring on.
Yes.
So I got a parmesan pot.
I didn't even know that existed.
Parmesan pot. Spittoon.
Do you use that often?
It's made for the American market, no, but I like to have spitting.
Michael got one like that.
Yeah, he's bought the Aesop's Fables one.
How lovely. And so they were to keep your hair when it came out in your hairbrush?
Yes. So when you had your hair brushed by your maid, things for when you've got a bun to buff it up, but also there was a superstition that if somebody got hold of your hair, then they could cast some sort of spell on you. So it's a two-parts of that.
Oh, this section is making me so happy because, of course, it's the blue tower that we've recently been gifted from Viola, which is so incredibly beautiful. We were very tempted by the dog bowl, then we saw it was £150, and also, I'm not convinced Galahad could reach. Philip found this one. I love this. It's gorgeous, and we'll actually use that in the kitchen.
Yeah, and it's very unusual as well, in brilliant condition, totally justifiable because, of course, you've got the jug, so it's two for the price of one. So
of
course you can use the jug for your little bit of custard or cream or whatever, and then you can use that for your...
I love that.
So.
Very good salesman, but I was already sold.
And this is useful. You'll use that all the time.
Yeah, salt paper, lovely. Yeah, lovely.
These are all
really old. 1810, 1810.
So this has always been your favourite set.
Yes, but then I have to say, looking at the blue room, I think I keep looking at any single side, but I'm like, that's my favourite. No, that's my favourite.
Oh, now that actually, for real, is useful.
Ginger jar.
The shape is ginger jar.
But that is for garlic.
It's for garlic.
I have made a video about SPODE before, and if any of you want to know more about the history of SPODE, if you click on the link, I show you the blue and white collection that we have at Lalande, which, to be fair, has grown quite a bit since then. But I also talk about the history of the company.